I have been in the room when someone took their last breath, more times than I can count. A Tuesday in February, a Sunday afternoon when the light was coming through the blinds in thin, pale strips. A hospital room that smelled like antiseptic and old flowers. And every single time, I have watched what happens to the people left standing there. The way they reach for something to say, the way the words come out before they've had a chance to think. And sometimes, I have to be honest with you, what comes out of our mouths in those moments is not what that soul needs to hear. I'm Father David. I've spent over 40 years walking with people through exactly this, through death, through grief, through the terrifying silence that follows when someone we love is suddenly gone. And today I want to tell you something that I have never heard another priest say plainly enough. Something the church has always known, and that I believe with my whole heart, but that most people are never told when they need it most. There are words, common words, words said with love and the best of intentions, that you should never speak to someone who has just died. I know that sounds startling, maybe even frightening, but stay with me, because what I'm going to share with you today is not meant to frighten you. It's meant to set you free from something you may have been carrying for years without even knowing it. Here is what most people do not understand, and I mean people who go to Mass every Sunday, people who have prayed their whole lives. Most people do not understand that the moment of death is not the end of a relationship. It is a transition. And in the hours immediately following that last breath, the soul of the person you love is in a state of extraordinary sensitivity. The Church teaches this. The saints have written about it. And in 43 years of sitting in those rooms, I have seen things that confirmed it for me beyond any doubt. I once sat with a family, a mother, 3 adult children, gathered around the bed of their father. He had just passed. And one of the daughters leaned over him and said something, 7 words, said with complete love, said through tears. And I felt something shift in that room when she said them, not in a good way. I didn't say anything in that moment. It wasn't the time. But I have thought about those 7 words many times since then. And I want to tell you what they were, and why I believe they may have made those first hours harder for that soul than they needed to be. But wait, because before I tell you that, I need to give you something even more important first. I need to tell you what Scripture says actually happens in the moments after death. Because once you understand that, once you truly understand it, everything else I'm going to share today will make complete sense. And you will never stand in that room again without knowing exactly what to do. Stay with me. Let me ask you something, and I want you to sit with this for a moment. Have you ever left a room where someone just died and felt like you did something wrong? Not something obvious, not something anyone would blame you for, just a quiet, persistent feeling, like a stone sitting in the bottom of your chest, that maybe you said the wrong thing, or didn't say the right thing, or said too much, or said nothing at all, and you've regretted the silence ever since. I hear this in the confessional more than almost anything else. Not guilt over sins exactly, grief guilt, the particular kind of pain that comes from a moment you cannot go back to and do differently. A woman, I'll call her Dorothy, came to me about 6 months after her husband passed, 51 years of marriage. She said, "Father, I was holding his hand when he went, and the last thing I said to him was, 'Don't leave me.'" She looked at me with those eyes, you know the eyes, the ones that have been crying so long they've gone quiet. She said, "Was that selfish? Did I make it harder for him to go?" I want you to hear what I told Dorothy, because I think I may be telling it to you right now too. You were not selfish. You were human. And God, the God who made you, who knit you together in your mother's womb, who has counted every hair on your head. That God does not look at a wife of 51 years saying, "Don't leave me," and see selfishness. He sees love. He sees the particular agony of loving someone so completely that the thought of their absence feels like being asked to breathe without air. But here is where I have to be honest with you, because I think you deserve honesty more than you deserve comfort. There is a difference between what God sees in your heart, which is always love, and what words do in the spiritual realm. And that distinction matters, because the soul that has just left the body is not gone. Not yet fully, not in the way we imagine. The church teaches, and the mystics have written about this for centuries, that in the hours following death, the soul is in a state of passage, of transition. It is moving toward its particular judgment. And in that movement, it remains for a time extraordinarily close to the people and places it has loved. St. John Vianney, the curé of Ars, one of the greatest priests who ever lived, spoke about this with a directness that still takes my breath away. He said that the souls of the faithful departed are closer to us than we think, not as a metaphor, not as a comfort, as a reality. This means that what we say in that room, in those first hours, lands somewhere. It is received. And certain words, certain phrases that we reach for because they're the first things that come, can do something in the spiritual realm that we do not intend. Not out of malice, never out of malice. But intention and effect are not always the same thing. And in a moment, I'm going to tell you something that very few people know about this. I'm going to tell you exactly which words carry that weight and why. But first, I need you to understand one more thing. The reason this matters so much, especially for you, especially now, at this stage of your life, is that most of us are not far from these moments. We are at the age where the people we love are leaving, where we ourselves think about our own departure more than we used to. And I believe with absolute certainty that God put this video in front of you today because He wants you to be prepared. Not frightened, prepared. There is a profound difference. Don't go anywhere, because what I'm about to share in the next few minutes may be the most important thing you hear today. All right, I promised you I would tell you, and I keep my promises. The words you should never say to someone who has just died, the ones I have heard most often in those rooms, said with love, said through tears, are these: don't go, come back, I'm not ready, stay with me, I need you here. Now, before you feel a wave of guilt, stop, please, because I already told you that God sees your heart. He always sees your heart. But I need you to understand what those words do, spiritually, in that moment, so that you never have to wonder again. There is a passage in the Gospel of John, chapter 11, that I have returned to more times than I can count in 43 years of priesthood. You know the story. Lazarus has died. Martha runs to Jesus and says, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." And Jesus, the Son of God, the one who spoke the universe into existence, does not correct her, does not explain, does not give her a theology lesson. He asks where they have laid him. And then, two words that have never left me since the first time I truly understood them: Jesus wept. I want to put you inside that moment, because I think we read past it too fast. He is standing at the tomb of his friend. He knows, he already knows, that in moments he is going to call Lazarus out of that tomb. He knows how the story ends, and he still weeps. Why? Because grief is not a failure of faith. Grief is love with nowhere to go. And Jesus, fully God and fully man, honored that. He wept with them before he acted. But here is what I want you to notice. When Jesus speaks to Lazarus, when he stands at that sealed tomb and raises his voice, he does not say, "Come back." He does not say, "I need you here." He says, "Lazarus, come forth." He calls him forward, into life, into movement, into what comes next. That distinction changed the way I pray forever. When we stand at the bedside of someone who has just passed and we say, "Don't go, come back, stay," we are, without meaning to, pulling. We are reaching after a soul that is in the middle of its most sacred journey. And the soul that loved us, that loves us still, can feel that pull. Not as cruelty, as love, but love that makes the passage harder. I sat with a man once, a retired schoolteacher, quiet man, deeply faithful, as he watched his wife of 47 years take her last breath. And before I could say anything, he leaned close to her ear and he whispered. I heard it from where I was standing. He whispered, "Go, my love, go to him. I will find you there." I have never forgotten those words. I have used them at bedsides many times since, with his permission and in his honor, because what he did, instinctively from a place of profound love, was release her. He called her forward, the way Jesus called Lazarus forward. That is what you say. That is the answer to what you must never say. You say, "Go in peace, go to God. I will pray for you every day until I see you again. You are loved, you are free." These are not just beautiful words, they are a spiritual act. The church has always taught, and I believe it with my whole heart, that our prayers and our words for the dead are not empty gestures. They reach, they land. Purgatory exists precisely because there is a conversation still happening between the living and the dead, mediated by God's mercy. When you pray for someone who has just died, you are not speaking into silence. You are speaking into a reality more alive than anything we can see with our eyes. And here, this is the moment I want to call a sacred secret, because I have almost never heard this said plainly from a pulpit. The hours immediately following death may be among the most important hours of prayer you will ever offer for that soul. The particular judgment happens. The soul sees itself as it truly is. And the prayers of the people who loved that person, your prayers, are part of what that soul carries into that moment. I have never been more certain of anything in 43 years of priesthood. So if you are carrying guilt today, if you remember words you said or words you didn't say, I want you to hear this clearly. It is not too late. It is never too late. Pick up your rosary, light a candle, say their name out loud in the presence of God, and say, "Go in peace. I release you. I will find you there." That prayer will reach. I want to take a moment before we close today, just a moment, to gather everything we've walked through together, because I don't want you to leave this conversation carrying only information. I want you to leave carrying something real. We started today with a room, a bedside, the terrible silence that follows a last breath. And I told you that what we say in that room, and what we say in the days and weeks and years after, matters in ways that most people are never told. Not because God is waiting to catch us in a wrong word, never that, but because love expressed with precision is more powerful than love expressed with panic. And in those sacred, irreversible moments, God is offering us the chance to do something extraordinary for the person we are losing. You now know what the church has always known, and what I have witnessed confirmed in room after room, in the quiet of hospitals and homes and hospices, that the soul of someone who has just died is not gone. Not in the way the world tells you. It is close. It is in passage. And your words, your prayers, your conscious act of release. Go in peace. Go to God. I will find you there. Those are not just comfort for yourself. They are a gift you give to that soul at the most critical moment of its journey. I think about Dorothy, the woman I told you about earlier, the one who held her husband's hand for 51 years and said, "Don't leave me," when he went. She came back to see me about a month after our conversation. She sat down and she said, "Father, I went home and I lit a candle and I said his name. And I told him, 'Go in peace, Bernard. I release you. I will find you there.'" She folded her hands in her lap and she looked at me with eyes that were different from the last time. Not healed exactly, but quieter. She said, "I think he heard me. I believe he did." This is not something most priests talk about openly enough, but I believe you needed to hear it. And I genuinely believe, that God arranged for you to be sitting here today, watching this at exactly this moment in your life, not by accident, never by accident, because there is someone in your life, someone you have lost, or someone you are losing, or someone you will one day have to release. And God wanted you to be prepared, to know what to do, to stand in that room not with panic, but with the quiet authority of someone who understands what is actually happening. That is a gift. Don't set it down. And if this has touched something in your heart today, if something I said landed in a place that needed to hear it, I want to invite you to stay close. Subscribe to this channel and join me every week, because there is so much more that God wants you to know about the spiritual realities surrounding us, about death, about prayer, about what the church has always taught, and what so few people are being told clearly enough. I am honored, genuinely, deeply honored, to be the one who gets to tell you. This is not a small thing to me. You are not a small thing to me. Every week I sit down and I ask God, what does she need to hear today? And then I come here and I tell you. That is the only promise I make, that it will always be true and it will always be for you. Before you go, may God's peace rest upon you today and upon everyone you are carrying in your heart. May He remind you in the quiet moments, in the candlelight, in the counting of your beads, that the ones you have loved and lost are not far. And may He give you the words when the moment comes to release them gently into His hands. Go with His blessing.